like too far?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, we're live. Okay.
That was a great little check-in. Yeah, like, oh, how's the audio for when we go live? Oh, we're live. Let's do this.
So welcome to our discussion all things Google. Google had its big event for the year in San Francisco. We were not invited. And sorry, I had to say it that way. And they announced a bunch of things. 2 new Nexus devices, 2 new Chromecasts, a new Chrome Pixel, it's called a Chrome Pixel. So Pixel C, Android, and some services, as well as also Android M's official Marshmallow officials announcing. So let's start off with the main things, which of course are the 2 Nexus devices. Let's start off with the Nexus P.
The 6P?
6P, yeah, sorry, 6P.
Well, I mean, I think that is their positioning for making that the flagship device. I'm gonna go. What's funny is I was gonna try and tackle screen share, and now it's not letting me screen share. So
okay. So let's see. Okay, I do have it, and share. do you have it there?
Sorry about that. So yeah, I mean, like it does seem like Google is positioning this as their flagship, and then the 5X is going to be more the mid-range. We're dealing with an all-metal and anodized aluminum body, the 12-megapixel camera up in the Geordie LaForge visor at the top of the phone, and the fingerprint scanner and the dimple where Motorola used to keep their logo.
Yep, and it's got an 8-megapixel front-facing camera. It's got dual front-firing speakers. And if we move on here, sorry, if I can find the next button, wherever it is, it's disappeared.
I think that's the last photo in that chain.
Yeah, sorry, it is the last photo. Here it is. Display is a 5.7-inch QHD display. PPI is 518 for all you PPI hungry folks. So, and the battery is a 3450 milliamp battery. And I just lost Juan. He disappeared. It looks like he just dropped out with... So besides that, it's got fast charging. Fast charging gives you 7 hours in 10 minutes for fast charging. Price starts at $499, $3264, $120. Whoa, welcome back.
Thanks. It just kicked me out and just said there was an error. So we'll keep going. But yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Lou says, "Don't feel bad. I don't get to go either." Thanks, Lou. So this is the Nexus P, and it's spec like any flagship device that you see there. I'm gonna go into my little rant again on devices this size. Again, Marshmallow does not have split screen multitasking.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping to see.
We've been really wanting to see Google
since the Note 3.
Exactly. That we now just include a native way to multitask apps, and they keep teasing us with it. But it took us years of requesting audio support. Ever since Android 4.0, there's been a lot of noise made about trying to include USB audio. So I wouldn't expect native split screening of apps to be delivered in the next update or 3.
Yeah. What do you think about pricing for the device?
I mean, considering where we're at in this market now, 2K screens are pretty normal. The chipset is a little bit older. It's the V2.1 of the Qualcomm 810, right?
Yeah, but which is a newer one? It's a newer chipset, though.
I mean, it's
a revision. It's a revision.
I mean, but we're still dealing. I mean, like Qualcomm is got the 820 right around the corner, so we'll be leapfrogging this again probably at the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
And then battery specs are pretty on point. I would say pricing is about where it should be, especially when you factor in, because for a lot of people buying these phones, I'm going to highly recommend you grab their Nexus protection plan. So you add another $90 onto the cost of this, and it has a coverage for accidental damage
for 2 years.
Which is going to be huge. So, I mean, we've got a couple bleeding edge features like USB-C. I'm really stoked to see that finally on a mass market, mass produced phone. But, this is still, like you were saying, these are pretty common specs now for where we're at. So there was no way they were going to be able to price this out at a top tier premium. And that's not really Google's MO anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's not their MO. But I don't know. I understand that, they don't need to do anything else hardware wise. It's more the software. I wanted to see something that made me feel that this would give the Note a run for its money. The only device that gives the Note a run for its money is the iPhone 6 Plus, because it's a different market base that wants a big screen device, right?
But that's going to be the primary phone that I think will pull Note users away.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually don't even think so, because when you look at functionality, it's with the S Pen.
We know consumers don't care about.
Okay, yes, we know consumers. But anyway,
I just mean like in the general marketplace, not necessarily people who would be watching our shows, but in the general marketplace, I think that's the one phone that represents a major threat. I don't think a Nexus has ever been a major threat to a Galaxy smartphone.
Yes, it's nice to see there's a fingerprint sensor on there, even though it's at the back. So, which means most likely you'll be using your index finger, not your thumb, for this. Well, just because
I actually do like that placement for phones. Do I have? Yeah, I've got my Edge Plus here. As my hands are just small enough where the dance to get to the bottom of that screen is a little problematic sometimes. You know, when you're trying to reach down to the bottom of such a long phone. I kind of like the idea of balancing the fingerprint sensor in the middle of the phone.
Yeah, no, so definitely agree on that one. I apologize. My screen just kind of went all over the place. Yeah, it went over.
I mean, like, we've gone through so many hassles trying to get this live stream up. YouTube is not handling this very well at all.
Yeah, it isn't. But overall, I mean, I think it's a solid device. I think a lot of people would like spec-wise. Pricing for this, I agree with you, is fine. It's in line with everything else on there. And I think, we just have to see performance and see if this A10 version 2.1 does a better job than the regular A10, because the 808, which is favored to me, has heat issues, which we're going to talk about in the next device, which is the Nexus 5X, which I'm just going to switch over to. Boom, 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 boom. I do like the black, though.
I do like the look of the black. I don't like this like weird sort of baby pastel mint.
Green
color. I want phones to come in more colors. Like, I made that a part of the talking points for the iPhone 6S. Is like, pink is not my color, but having been a Nokia fan from back in the day, the fact that we don't get phones in more colors is kind of sad. So I'm happy to see more colors, but I'd kind of like some more primary colors mixed into this too.
Yes, no, I definitely agree. Now, looking at this, let's just show some of the images here. I'm not sure what the material build for the 5X is.
I thought it was going to be like a matte finish poly.
It is. It looks like a matte finish, at least anyway. What you do have is a Snapdragon 808 processor in here. You do have a fingerprint sensor at the back. You know what? I'm just going to read the specs because I just forgot it immediately. Just disappeared from my mind. So let's do this again. So it's a 5.2-inch display. A full HD 1080p, PPI is 423, which is still higher than the iPhone, just to let you guys know. It's a Gorilla Glass 3 fingerprint sensor, smudge resistant oleophobic coating. So yes, there's no smudging on this device.
Oh, that's never true though. Smudge, I think, that's the first day I have it.
It's a rear camera, 12.3 megapixels, so the same camera in both devices. You can see the same pixels, the same aperture, but this one has an IR laser assisted autofocus. So is this going to be slightly better than the high end?
I don't think so. I think
I know. I'm just because it has that extra feature in there. 4K recording. They both had broad spectrum CR-90 dual flash. Front-facing camera is 5 megapixels with an aperture 2.0. Processors, the 808 clocked at 1.8 with Adreno 418. 2 gigs of RAM. Internal storage is 16 or 32. Dimension-wise, you can see it right there. Calculate the math, you will get it.
And the 6P does have laser autofocus too.
Oh, it does? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
They both. I mean, like the camera modules on both of these are going to be nearly identical.
Now, colors are carbon, which is basically the black, quartz, and ice.
So basically, all of the wingmen from Top Gun are the names of these colors for these new Nexus phones.
It's got what do you call it again? A single front-facing speaker, 3 microphones, 2,700 milliamp battery, fast charging up to 3.8 hours of use in 10 minutes. So it's slightly less juice going in there compared to the Nexus 6P. It's got LTE Cat 6, wireless MIMO 2.2, Bluetooth 4.2, NFC, all that fun jazz, as you can see here. Lots of stuff mixed in: USB Type-C, nano SIM, and premium injected molding polycarbonate housing.
Nailed it. Told you. Matte finish polycarb.
Yes, you were right. You're right. So, your thoughts? Pricing starts at $379. I'm kind of bummed about pricing for this, though, for some reason.
I'm a little bummed at the pricing for this because of the same criticisms that I would levy at even a more expensive phone like the iPhone 6s, where we're still starting this off at 16 gigabytes of storage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw
especially without any micro SD expansion on here.
Exactly. I'm going to throw the same complaints at this that I'm going to throw at the iPhone 6s, pricing notwithstanding, that if you're going to try and sell me on a newer, better camera shooting 4K UHD video, and then you're going to give me a 16 gigabyte storage starting point, that means basically the recommendation is you got to step up another. What is it? Is it $100 for the 32?
See right here, 32. Boom, $429.
So it's not $100.
It's not $100, and it's about what, 60.
So that's better. I mean, it's not, at least it's not the $100 jump, which is, I think, insulting when you look at what flash memory actually sells for these days. But still, the recommendation is going to be, if you really want to take advantage of these features and you think the Nexus is going to be the phone for you, try and shop the higher tier, and let's maybe avoid the 16 unless you're really looking at this for what the Nexus was originally designed to be, was like a developer phone. If you're looking at this for development, then it doesn't matter. But if you're looking at this for your primary daily driver, then yeah, I think you really got to shop that 32. And
also the protection plan is $69 for the 5X, so it's a little different now. We do have a few comments here. Mr. Rod says
$500 gets you the 32 and the accidental damage protection, which is actually not a bad price. But
I don't, for some reason, I don't like it. For me, because you're making this 2 tiers, the pricing for the 6P to me works. I think it's fine. For the 5X, I don't know. It feels like it should be started at $350, not $379. I don't know. Just for me,
I like because like the point that I would make is you do get the benefit of software support in a way that no other Android device really gets it when you shop a Nexus. So that to me is worth a little bit of a premium. But we're also looking at how else does this thing really compete against a phone like the LG G4. And then you start doing the spec for spec game, and you know, I think the G4 wins most of those fights. Not all of them, but most of them. Yeah. So it is tricky to say, but I don't think it's terrible price.
No, that's what I said. I didn't think it was terrible. For me, like I said, $350, just that extra $20-something, even though it sounds finicky, just to me, and the marketing scale doesn't necessarily put it in a very comfortable light.
No, I get that. I agree with that. But you're right. We should get on to the couple questions and
questions. Yeah. So Mr. Rod says you can get the 128 gigabyte plus 89. That's for the Nexus 6P, and still be cheaper than any iPhone or Note phone. Note definitely. I'm not sure about the iPhone pricing.
The iPhone 6, I think he's comparing it to the 6S, which is already $100 cheaper.
Cheaper, yes.
I mean, $100 more expensive than the iPhone 6S.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. Again, it all depends on what you're using these devices for and what you want to do with them. Because, again, for me, like I said, because especially with the 6P, the size, there is no extra functionality for the size. I consider it a very dumb device. Good dumb device. That's just me personally.
I think there because I'm not a big fan of phablets. I do think there is an argument to be made for a larger screen phone, and I think you look at phones like, again, I'm going to hold up the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. I don't think this does a great job of answering why you want the larger screen real estate when you compare it to the Note 5.
Yeah,
on its own, it's a really pretty big screened phone. And there are still some benefits like split screening apps that Samsung brings to the table. But the Note gives you a reason why both hands need to be occupied in using the device. And I don't think the Edge Plus does that. So I think in that same context, someone who might be shopping something like an Edge Plus can look at the Nexus as a potential alternative. I just want the bigger screen because I like making the text super huge for better readability, or I want the bigger screen because I'm really just going to be using it to play games and answer emails, So I think there are some usage scenarios where this makes sense, but when we're really looking at productivity, I think Samsung still has the best solution overall for why you move up to that screen size.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which makes a lot of sense. I do agree. Next comment is from Tony. I'm not going to pronounce your last name. I can pronounce it, but right now it's not even going to work.
Sorry, Tony S.
Yes. Will it follow Samsung's footsteps with no SD expansion and no battery removal? It's always been that way for the
Nexus phones. I think since
devices.
the Nexus
5. Yes.
The Nexus,
which is made by Samsung, right?
Had a removable battery, but I don't think since then we've seen a removable battery on any Nexus phone. Oh no, the Galaxy Nexus. Galaxy Nexus also had a removable battery, but all of them have had built-in storage, so that's not been something we can ever upgrade. In fact, it's only been recently that I think Nexus phones have had an easy pathway to using USB storage. Yes. I remember moving with the Galaxy Nexus, like you had to crack your kernel or download drivers or use a special app just to use USB OTG.
Yeah, if I have to get a Nexus, I'm going to go for the 6P. The Pixel C has my attention. I want it. We will talk about that in a second. Actually, I'll go to that next.
That was from Bradley Larcher.
Yes, from Bradley. And Tony S is back again. Hi there. Do you think I will kick the iPhone 6s or Note 5 fingerprint? Will it kick the iPhone 6s or Note 5 fingerprint sensor? So that 6s fingerprint sensor is faster than the Note 5. Mm-hmm. I don't know about this. It might, because it most likely is using one of the second or third generation fingerprint sensors that are available now. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's definitely a wait and see. But here's the realities of like software and refinement. Is Apple's into their third generation of fingerprint scanners, and this is Google's very first foray into incorporating fingerprint scanning APIs directly into Android. So they're not relying on someone else's fingerprint scanner software. This is the first time it's ever been built into Android. So I will not be surprised. And I don't think anyone should be discouraged if the fingerprint scanner on the Nexus isn't quite as snappy or as efficient or as nice as the fingerprint scanner on the iPhone. We still want to give Google like a year or 3 to catch back up to what
I love it. He says we want to give them a year or 3.
Well, I mean, starting with the 5S, like the iPhone has had a solid, like the iPhone's implementation of fingerprint scanner was solid from the very beginning and has gotten incrementally better with every release. Android, we've been all over the place. The fingerprint scanner on HTCs functioned way differently than Samsung. Samsung moved from a swipe to being able to hold it in place on the sensor. I mean, I would say we're still a generation behind Apple. And now Google is starting with their own new implementation of all this, which kind of means we need to troubleshoot it a bit.
Before we continue, I need to find images of this thing because the new Pixel C is not on the Google Store. So I need to find some information on that. So if you can search for that and just let me know, we'll jump to the Chrome.
I don't think I can share it, but I'll see if I can find one.
Yeah, you can just send me the link and I'll share it. So let's go over to Chromecast, which is the next thing. So Google announced 2 new Chromecasts. They announced Chromecast, regular Chromecast. It's updated. And let's go ahead and share our screen here so we can have that. Where is sharing our screen? There we go. No, I can't share.
All right, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show you what these things look like.
Can you share it? Can you just click and see?
I can't. I'm totally locked out.
Yeah, so Sharon's out the picture now.
That's ridiculous.
The new Chromecast is wow.
It's a circle.
It's circular. Let me see specs here. If I can actually read them off for you guys here. So it comes in 3 colors: black, lemonade, and coral, which is red.
Resolution, red
and
yellow. Black, red, and yellow.
Resolution is 1080p. Dimensions, never mind. It's really small. It's got Wi-Fi, AC built into it. Power supply, ports HDMI, as well as micro USB for charging. Supports Android 4.1 or higher, Mac OS 10.7, Windows 7 or up, and iOS 7 or higher. And the new thing is it's a circular design. It's also got like a HDMI extender, I think, so to speak. So Juan just dropped out, but it's got a HDMI extender. Let's see. So if Juan dropped out, can I share? No. And it starts at $35 for the new Chromecast. Now, welcome back.
I'm really tired of typing out my lower third over and over again. It's not an HDMI extender. It's a built-in HDMI.
HDMI, sorry. Thank you very much. It's built-in HDMI, so which most likely you might want to have an extender anyway. Just
Oh
depends
yeah, I mean,
on
I think the idea was, and this is one of the criticisms I'm glad they addressed, is say you're traveling with a Chromecast, it means having to have a separate HDMI cable.
Yeah.
So the idea here was to provide you a way to better connect to TVs and stuff without needing some separate cable. So for most travel situations, having just that little bit of cable on the end of the thing is going to make it easier to plug into most like hotel room or conference TVs.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think a lot of people would like this. Chromecast is number 3, I believe, the last stats behind the Amazon Fire Stick. But, it's good. It's a nice improvement. Again, price point is solid. So I think these things will fly off shelves or stores, wherever they are, for Google, and it will be fine. The next...
and also, I'm just going to say one last thing. Smart keeping the $35 price point.
Yeah, definitely. The Nexus Chrome Audio, which again is $35. And the idea of Chrome Audio is basically giving you ability to create a wireless connectivity for any of your speakers, be it older speakers you have, newer speakers that may just be Wi-Fi only or Bluetooth, whatever the case may be. If you got a pair of speakers, you want to basically make them Wi-Fi in your home, you can use Chrome Audio. Chromecast audio. Chromecast audio is circular. It comes with a short 3.5 cable. And let me just give you this spec rundown again. Click. Thank you very much. I love that side. Like,
Right.
Comes up. Yeah, it comes up with, so it's 13.7 grams, black, one color. I cannot believe they did not offer coral. It's so disappointing.
Well, no. The Chromecast audio is only black because the grooved design harkens back to the days of vinyl.
Whatever. It's got built-in, Wi-Fi AC there. Of course, it's got a micro USB for power. Ports a 3.5mm jack and optical, so which is actually pretty cool. You have that there. Works with Android 4.1, iOS 7.0, Mac OS 10.7, and Windows 7 or higher. So there you have it. Again, $35 price point. Nice device. I think a lot of people might eventually pick this up and say, oh, wow, I've got these older speakers, which are great. I don't have to throw them away or look for wireless speakers. That kind of thing works. And I think
and also kind of
nice
cool.
entry.
Say your entertainment system is connected to your TV. Those are usually the best speakers you have in your living room. And so if you have some sort of receiver, you can now use this to port audio to that receiver as opposed to keeping your TV on to stream audio only through something like a Chromecast. I think it's kind of a cool little doodad. I went ahead and ordered one. So I have an order for both the new Chromecast and the new Chromecast audio. What I think will be interesting is if they can pull off the distributed audio system that they were talking about during the keynote, where you can send it to multiple Chromecast audios all at the same time.
Yeah, that would be.
You could hook it up to speakers in your living room, speakers like back in a bedroom. You have like a party going on, and audio is playing across the entire house. The same audio is being played from the same source all at the same time. That could be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, it definitely would be, because that also, especially if you spent money over the years, not necessarily spending. I'm not talking about you spent like 20 or 40,000. Even if you spent on old school speakers that you dropped $40,000 on, but being able to connect them. I think, again, it's a nice, easy proposition, and we lost Juan again. I mean, this thing is just terrible. No easy type of lower thing.
I'm gonna make it through this damn hangout.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna let Google beat me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I'm not gonna type out my lower third again. That's
it's unnecessary. So Tony S says, "Oh, the DPI will be better than the LG G4 and S6." Probably talking about the 6B. Yeah,
because it won't be on the 5X. The 5X is still just a 1080p screen, which again is kind of odd considering that Google's also trying to push forward with cardboard. You would think that their Nexus devices would give you a better experience for virtual reality type applications, but the 5X doesn't look like it's going to be that power player. Yeah,
so I'm trying to find some information on the Pixel C. Do you have any idea on the specs?
I don't. They what they did with the Pixel C just for the press conference was really more of a tease, just kind of showing off what it was going to look like. I do remember that the screen resolution was going to be 2560 by 1800. Yeah. And that made me really excited because usually whenever we have a 2K display, they usually cut back on the width. So you have the width is 2560 and the height is 1440 in a rectangle display. So for most of these 2K, they cut into the width and they leave the 1440 the same. So here they're actually keeping the proper wide quad HD length, and then they're just adding to the height of the display. So that's actually, I think, going to be pretty cool, especially for the screen size being around, was it 9 inches, 10 inches, something?
It's 10.2. So I found something here from The Verge. So it is 10.2 inches. It's powered by the new NVIDIA Tegra X1 processor, the one you find in the NVIDIA Shield console, which is a very good processor in there. It will be priced at $499 starting. Instead of Chrome OS, it's the big thing. It is running Android, which to me signals the death of Chrome OS.
Okay, so to be fair, and this is where I was also a little hopeful, is it doesn't make sense to me for Google to continue supporting Chrome OS and Android.
Yeah.
So if we see these two merge and I get a proper Chrome browser on Android, and then I also have all of the same apps and services and games that Android is doing so well with, that would be the best of both worlds. And I don't see any reason why Android couldn't incorporate a proper desktop grade browser, considering Chromebooks run on way lower power hardware than what my phones do now.
Yes, definitely.
So hopefully moving forward, that this is the first step towards merging the two. Because I don't think like Chrome OS doesn't just die, because the Chrome browser is going to live on desktop PCs and laptops and Microsoft tablets and stuff like that. But if I could get some of those higher end browser features on my phone, that would be cool.
Also, we'll have 3 gigs of RAM in there, and I believe a battery size. I'm looking for it. No, USB Type-C charging on there. It doesn't say anything about battery size. Now, some other things of note is that the pricing is $499. And also it comes with an optional keyboard that has a stand to it. Can we say Surface here? $149. And
well, I mean, like, to be fair, the Surface still beats it in that the kickstand is built into the tablet, not into like a keyboard dock or something like that.
It's an interesting proposition. Now, if you know me very well, I'm not the biggest fan of Android tablets. I can review them and tell you they're good for what they do, but when it comes to a pricing standpoint, I might as well just pick up a Surface 3 and be done with it and just call it a day. That's just my thinking in general. But it will be interesting to see, because the way they demoed and showed the device, especially with the kickstand and keyboard, like in photos, it's almost them trying to say, hey, we're going into that Surface market, which kind of puts things in a very interesting perspective for Microsoft, because literally the ball is now in their court. Not trying to take Microsoft in this conversation yet, but over the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks, starting with Apple, with the iPad Pro, and now you have the Pixel C, literally, it's Microsoft's game to lose. If they come out with a shitty product in the Surface Pro 4, then that's the case there. But I mean, my own general thoughts of the Pixel is it's nice. It looks like a nice piece of hardware. I like the processor in it, because the X1 processor from NVIDIA is a very good processor. It's just one of those that it's not been picked up by a lot of people. And like you said, the display looks great. The fact that you've kept the width there, all that stuff is nice and dandy. But for me, it's Android 6, and because it's a tablet and we do not have split screen functionality on here, I don't know why. That's the part that really takes this even to the next level, because for me, it's I understand if you don't necessarily make it on that 5.7-inch device, right? Because people just want big phones now, right? It's not everybody wants to be like me that wants productivity. But even Apple understands that even on the iPads, you have to have split screen functionality.
And I think this also becomes part of the same discussion we had with the iPad Pro. Something like the Pixel, you're buying it on the promise of what's to come, not what it can do today.
Yeah. But what's sadder about it is not the promise. Apple never had that promise, because Apple is the only person who makes iOS tablets. When your OEMs have been adding this functionality in for the longest time, it's about time that you start, the progression there where Google adds some of these things really slow can be annoying, because you want to see, I can understand if the tablet version of Android 6.0 had split screen. That would make it a little bit more sensible there, just because you're looking at people who want to do some level of productivity. I'm not saying that they have to do, super long spreadsheets or anything like that. But eventually you get an email, maybe a work email, you really want to craft it. You have that keyboard, right? You want to sit down and, draft something that isn't just a quick type on your phone. Those are the kind of things you just want to have that kind of flexibility. So that's why I'm kind of bummed out, but hey, that's just
well, but I do think it also speaks to that transitionary point that we are at in the tablet market. Will apps eventually supersede desktop grade software? I mean, like we still need to see like where the future of this market goes, and I think there's still the potential where maybe for Marshmallow a 0.1 update or a 0.2 update that they can deliver something like split screening apps and make it work sort of natively across all situations. I think that's the problem is some apps are really good at being screen aware and some apps are not very well coded for developers to support that kind of workspace. But the other thing that just before we move on, because the thing I did think was kind of cool about the Pixel announcement was the keyboard being Bluetooth, but then also being magnetic, and that the keyboard charges through the tablet through inductive charging.
Nice.
So just like that wireless charging thing that you can do with like, some of our phones, you put them on a pad. You don't have to worry about plugging in a separate adapter or plugging into the keyboard to charge both the keyboard and the tablet. The tablet actually charges the keyboard, which I think was a really smart move. The thing I wanted to ask you is, this is sort of the thing that we're looking at with Windows right now. So we've got Lumia devices, we've got Surface devices, there are rumors for a Surface phone. Does the Pixel represent Google walking away from Nexus tablets?
Yes.
Is that the step that we're going to see? Like Nexus will be for phones and Pixel will be for tablets and Chromebooks?
I think so. I think it's a subtle move in that direction that most people didn't notice, because the Nexus 9 and even Android tablets have kind of waned down. The only person that really does well is Lenovo in that market. No one else really sells that well. Even though Samsung puts out a lot of tablets there, it's not really. And I think to some degree they want to use the Pixel, like you said. I'm thinking Google's final goal is to kind of merge Android and Chrome together. So if you start pushing that line there and also making everything go, okay, fine. Nexus is, like you said, strictly for phones, and the Pixel really covers everything else in terms of, larger devices, larger screens, so 10 inches and up or whatever the case may be. Then I think that's what they're trying to do here. And to some degree it makes sense. I think it's fine. The Nexus tablets the only Nexus tablet I think that did well was the Nexus 7.
And I was also going to say, is this a reflection on HTC not blowing the market up with the Nexus 9?
That could be. But
I feel so bad for HTC.
I don't think it's HTC's fault. I think HTC built whatever Google wanted.
Who told them to build, right?
Yeah. And Google asked for a tablet that sizing wise made no sense, at 8.9 inches. And
I think Google focused a little too hard on, we want to build an iPad.
Yeah, it just was not. It didn't fit properly.
So looking at some of like these new devices and these new product lines, do you think, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit here because I meant to ask this before when we were talking about the phones and I got booted out. Do you think that the Nexus 6P actually delivers higher visibility for Huawei in the United States?
I think I think it will, but not as much as what it did for LG.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. I think Huawei will get that bump because, even from the comments here, already you're hearing people go, well, the P will be better than this. Right. And, already that comparison is going on, which is a good thing for Huawei because the name Huawei is on the back.
Yeah.
So once you get it, you'll go, oh, wow, who's this? So the next time Huawei announces, because what is going to follow up is Huawei is going to make a big announcement for the next device and say, here is our, this. And they're like, oh, yeah, these are the guys who made the Nexus phone. Okay, cool. Because the 5X is going to be, I think, will be an afterthought. The 5X is going to be the phone. It sounds like a
phone.
But it's not cheap. It's really not that cheap. That's just.
It compares okay to like a OnePlus 2.
No.
Yeah, I think when you really break down, you're trading some hardware for better software support. It's pretty close to competing with phones like the OnePlus 2. I think if you're really looking at that pure-ish Android experience, Motorola is going to steamroll over both of these guys.
Yeah, your Moto X is what I was going to say that because I was like, I'd just rather go with the Moto X.
But again, I mean, we're talking about Moto still being what, the 4th place or 5th place player in the Android marketplace. So, you know, Google stands to sell almost as many Nexus 5s.
No, I mean, from that chart, it was mostly Chinese manufacturers. So that's.
Is that where we're at now? Well, yeah. That's what I mean. I was going to say that, you know, like, you know, it's not like Moto isn't owned by Lenovo now, but
yeah.
it is sort of a tricky position in the market right now. That's true.
No, I definitely agree. I think it's that. Now, the other couple of things they formally announced Marshmallow as being, you know, the name and also the, you know, for Android M, and also which means it should be out soon. But of course, coming to your own specific device, we have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that could take
to manufacturers and carriers.
Yeah, that could take forever. The other thing to note was also the pricing. I mean, sorry, the Nexus service plan. So as we mentioned, you can get a 2-year protection on this, on the 5X for $69, and the 2-year protection on the 6P for $89. Of course, we'll protect you from drop, spills, you chucking it out the window, burning it on fire. I don't think so, but don't try it. And
I think they're going to draw the line at intentional damage.
Yes.
Or accidental damage.
Yeah, but if you go like, oops, maybe.
Oh no.
you get that in there. So that's there. Any other announcements do they have today? I just can't remember.
Oh, the other thing too that I think is going to be really interesting, and especially for a company like Huawei, is that both of these phones also add to the lineup with the Nexus 6 in supporting Project Fi.
Yes.
So they're technically, you know, multi-band devices that shouldn't be constrained to any one carrier or any one region. That could be really interesting too, because that might give Huawei the manufacturing insight to start stepping into the American consumer space without always having to have some kind of carrier relationship.
Yeah.
You can start selling directly to consumers. You can offer some good mid-rangers, but then say, this one phone, you can take it to Verizon, you can take it to Sprint, you can take it to AT&T, you can take it to T-Mobile. It doesn't matter. It's $400, and I think that could be a really compelling sales point for a lot of people out there. I think a lot of people are starting to get just a little bit savvier about, oh well, if I buy this one phone, can I use that phone somewhere else? Can I use that phone on another carrier? And most of the time, we have to say no.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that point. The other thing that they announced was Google Play Music Family Plan. So it's just basically expanded on what you have on Google Play Music. Family Plan is $14.99 for up to 6 people on one account.
Yeah, I mean, like you seem so excited about this right now.
I
just the energy leaping off of this.
No. The reason why is because I went to an event earlier today, and they were talking about Spotify, and I realized that I don't use any streaming music service, and I actually don't even care.
So I use Mix Radio for music discovery. Like when I want to try and find something fresh, I really do like the music discovery tools built into Mix Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I use Google just to store my music. I was a big fan of Google Play Music All Access until they started putting on crazy device limits. And so you could only deactivate a certain number of devices.
Five a year.
I go through so many phones in the course of a year that I can't really test features like that if you're going to make me.
Wait. I have a good one for you quickly before you even finish that. So I had to call them to reset mine. And they told me, oh, well, for people like you who review devices, just create a dummy account each time. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Every single time?
Yeah. So you can,
that's not a solution.
Not every time, because each account has each dummy account you have has a limit. I'm like, but then I will have to move my music from
every single time.
Yeah.
Which is horse.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is.
And then also, I mean, like, I'm still waiting to see if Microsoft can start bringing out better solutions for, because all of my music is also uploaded to OneDrive. And so if Microsoft Music or Xbox Music or Groove.
No, let's call it what it is. Groove.
Oh, God, I hate that name. But if we start getting more cross-platform availability for all of those features too, I don't have any problems dropping
OneDrive. Yeah. We have a couple more questions and comments here. Mr. Rod says, I waited for this announcement to figure out what my next phone was. It's going to be what was going to be. I'm going with the Moto X. Better buy.
I think a lot of people are going to be in that boat. Moto really nailed it at the price point and feature set that they're delivering. And their timing couldn't have been perfect because they avoided some of the iPhone buzz. They stomped all over OnePlus. And now everyone who was waiting to see. Oh, man. I mean, just like front of the hand and back of the hand. Just ugly. And so now when we were waiting for Google to put out what the Nexus was, the Nexus, to me, I've never been a Nexus guy. So I apologize to people who are watching this that I'm not super lit up about a new Nexus. But I like when manufacturers customize Android because we get cool features. You know, it was Samsung who gave us better standby power management and low power saver modes. It wasn't Google. It was Samsung who gave us split screening apps. It was Samsung and LG and Motorola who gave us better camera apps and better camera performance. So, you know, when we see what Motorola has been doing with ergonomics, with voice controls, with, you know, screen swiping, error sensors and stuff like that, they're pushing the boundaries on a stock Android experience way farther than I think Google was in terms of actually building out a Nexus phone versus a Moto. So there's a lot that I would say, you know, you obviously want to shop what phone's going to be right for you. But I think price to performance, bang for buck, feature sets, and the fact that we know it's going to be a pretty clean and sleek experience, the Moto has a lot going for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. And it's a well-placed device, I think, overall. Tony S. says, do you think they will put Force Touch on the iPads like the 6S?
I believe they will.
Yeah, definitely.
I really think that Apple's moving towards getting rid of the home button. Maybe not for the iPhone 7 or 7S, obviously, but by the iPhone 8, I think we're going to start seeing renders on all screen iOS devices. So,
iPad Pro, this is from Bradley Larcher. iPad Pro sucks. Pixel C is beautiful. The Surface is on a whole other level.
I was going to say, I just don't think they're direct competitors. You know, like when we're talking about different consumer tablets, entertainment tablets, productivity pieces of gear, I don't think iPad Pro is looking at anywhere near the same mark. I think Pixel C is going to be looking to unseat some of the work that Apple's made and some of the progress Apple's has made in putting iPads in schools and iPads in businesses. And Pixel C is going to be Google's first step in trying to make Android look more professional, make it look more corporate, make it look more productivity focused. So I think that's cool. But
yeah, but they also face another Surface in that arena too, which is also
totally
a big problem on there. So I mean, we'll see how it fares, but they've traditionally not done well with tablets bigger than 7 inches.
But the thing about Nexus though, and I kind of want to keep coming back to this point, outside of the people that really do follow our channels and are fans of Nexus devices, Android tablets, stuff like that, is that the Nexus name is not really known for being a broad consumer name. Mm-hmm. You know, this is really was a developer focused program, which then sort of became its own niche in the Android market. But it's a really narrow niche. This is not a super popular area in terms of devices and sales. So,
you know what I think though? I think, can I hear you? Hello?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think Pixel C really just represents pushing Android tablet design. Yeah. So it's going to encourage Samsung to maybe use higher quality build materials and build out a better hardware keyboard for a Note tablet. It's going to encourage LG to maybe step back into the tablet game and try and produce something better than the free on contract, LTE enabled tablets that you get. And maybe it'll even convince an HTC to start putting some resources back into larger screen development because they need to diversify their portfolio too. And it's kind of silly that they don't have their own tablet solution outside of what they did with the Nexus.
Quick one from HTC. They have an event on the 20th. Just trying to help them out. Spread the word. It's all online.
Well, we got word that they will be releasing an HTC One M9 Plus. Which I think they're also going to be including laser focus in the M9 Plus and a couple other updates and side little tweaks too. So the initial announcement on that was that it was only going to be a Taiwanese and Asian market phone, but they could potentially bring something like that here. They're struggling.
The press announcement says U.S., New York. It says New York, a couple of places.
Oh no, I know, but that's what I'm saying is when the M9 Plus was announced, The
Oh, yeah.
general consensus was it was going to be a European or Asian market phone.
Yeah.
So that could be something like what they're going to try and bring here to kind of update and hopefully spark a little bit more interest in products because the M9 didn't do it.
Yeah.
But they're also going to be facing, recent announcements from LG. We got the word on the LG announcement that's coming up in a couple days, and then Microsoft's event in New York in a week. And we're go time there. It's going to be a very busy holiday season.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm
HTC to crack into.
Yeah. Just let's answer a few more questions before we round up. Mr. Rod says, like Juan tweeted, good use of the magnets and price is good. This will be better than the iPad IMO. Sorry.
You're just fading something fierce here, dude.
Yeah. Do we know if the Nexus devices have an IP rating? No.
I don't know, but I seriously doubt that at the price points they're building that they're incorporating any kind of special damage protection or waterproofing or anything like that.
And finally, Mr. Lou Rod says, before HTC can do a tablet, they better focus on making good phones.
Mr. Rod, I'm actually going to disagree. I think if HTC could take some of what their dwindling cash reserves and start building out some more experimental R&D on other product lines, that would probably go back into influencing how their phones are designed. I think their problem right now is that they're too focused on what their last successful phone was. And I don't think they've been able to pull out of that mindset, that myopic focus on, we had great buzz with the M7 and good buzz with the M8. We need to keep building phones like those and recreate the success we had. I think they need to step away from phones. I think the Vive is going to be the right play for them, getting into a completely different market, looking at VR. And then they need to look at other strategic partnerships where they can start diversifying their product portfolio.
I definitely agree. Yeah, that is pretty much it for Google announcements. In terms of other press events that's happening, Thursday is LG.
And I'm actually really looking forward to that. I've been having a blast with the G4. It's still my favorite all-rounder. So if they bring that rumored G4 Pro to market, I'm going to be stoked to see what they do.
Yeah, I will be there at that event, so I'll give you guys coverage, and we will both be at Microsoft. In New York City, well, here.
So I'm landing late the day before, and I think we should try and meet up because I have a couple friends who are old school Nokia bloggers too. Together and try and grab some pizza because I've been dying for a proper real slice of pizza because California, worst pizza. They try and make it fancy. It's like a sit-down restaurant. And you can get artichoke hearts on it. I mean, now like I need New York water, Italian flour, and like just the greasiest pepperoni on cheese, and then melt that, and that's a pizza. That's a real
pizza. No. It is true. I mean, like in Boston, there are places you can get good pizza. It's not like it's.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, but in New York, it's.
But New York.
Yeah, New York.
You can walk up to like some janky rusted out cart from some dude who hasn't washed his hands since the Carter administration and get a $2 slice of pizza that will blow away anything you can get out of
I was about to say that. There's a place down the street from my house, right? And literally it's like 2 blocks, right? And we walk past it, myself, Gary and Sam were like, and Gary's like, yeah, you know what? He just looked at it. He's like, he got like 4.5 stars on Yelp. So I walk in there and pizza slices are $2. And there's this giant like college style slices. Right, $2, and then a can of soda is like $1.50, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
All right, we need to hook something like that up when I land.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely give you guys coverage, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be busy, for the next foreseeable future, at least.
It's going to be and actually busy with cool stuff too. It's not like we're just wrapping up the year with the iPhone. Like, we've now got a really fun distributed distribution.
Wow, yeah, that's impeccable.
We've got a really fun distribution of high-end phones that are coming out towards the end of the year now too. So I'm really stoked. I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff that's coming out.
Oh, quick one here, just a couple more. So pepperoni, I thought you were vegan, Juan.
Oh, for scratching a pizza itch? No, I'm gonna break my diet for a real slice of pizza. Then I'll go back to eating quinoa. I needs me to be able to just work it's the same thing. Like when I'm in New York, I have to have a bagel because there are so few places out here in LA that can get bagels right.
I mean, are you serious? It's a bagel.
No, it's all about like the preparation. When you walk into a good bagel shop, you should see big old boilers. You should smell yeast in the air. It should be super humid. That's how you prep a bagel. Out here, too many places will just steam the dough before they bake it because it's more space efficient than having giant boilers, big pots of water. So you go in there and you basically just have round bread. You know, there's only so much that you can steam a bagel to activate the yeast in the dough. So, you know, like there's things like that. Like in New York, well, thank you, Alpha, for reminding me that, you know, I should be following my diet strictly. But it's one of those things. It's like, that's a cuisine that's unique that I need to experience, and I can really only experience on the East Coast.
Yeah. Next one's from Mr. Tony S. I think agency has to stop and think well before they seek out opportunities. Because those are the ways.
Oh, Tony, that's a
Tony, man, that was rough.
That's what was that?
But, I mean,
he's a song from the Blues Brothers by Aretha Franklin. You know, you better think about what you're trying to do to me. You better think. You know?
Oh, that's a good one, Tony. And Leroy says, any news on the comic show for Fridays? I'm thinking of moving to Fridays, so I started a comic like roundup, comic book TV shows and movies news roundup. I'm doing it on Wednesdays, but I'm thinking I'm moving to Friday. I might still do it on Wednesday this week just because I have friends coming into town, and you know, it's just gonna be crazy to do it on Friday. So Wednesday this week, but I might move it next week to Friday. And of course, you know, we'll invite Mr. Juan Bagnell to join us, although he has a show on Friday too.
Yeah, I mean, I do the viewer questions and comments podcast on Fridays. So we might.
Oh, well, it might be later though. This might be later show. It might be like a 7 p.m. on a Friday.
Oh, we could maybe talk about that. That'd be like mid-afternoon for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say this before we leave. I saw a preview for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3, and I was like,
I think now that we're working in the Inhumans, they actually have something for those characters to do.
Yes. So the question I wanted to ask you is, should I dare watch season 2, or can I get Cliff Notes and just watch season 2?
I would just get Cliff Notes. I think there's a lot of burn time in season 2, in my opinion.
Okay.
Especially knowing the complaints you have with the show.
Yeah.
Knowing why you're not a fan with it. Catch up on a wiki or something like that, and then just jump in fresh with what's going on. Because there are some episodes that I think are really good, and then there are some episodes that are just really obnoxiously inconsistent.
Okay. All right. So anyway,
that though, that one of the things I'm most excited about is that with the premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters are going to be added to Marvel Future Fight. That stupid game.
Yes.
That is still taking up way more of my time than it should.
Because it reminds you have a fight.
And it's like a little bite-sized chunk of some of the things that I like about like old school games like Diablo. Like you rank up your little characters, you level them up, you get better gear. I hate the free-to-play system, but they did a really good job of sort of augmenting how you level up abilities and stuff.
Yeah. All right, before we go on a tangent, definitely check out Juan's show on Friday, which is called
the SGGQA Podcast. And it's where I take all of my favorite comments over the course of the week, as we get hundreds of comments a day on all of our videos.
Yeah.
And so I try and pull some of my select comments. We talk a little bit sort of like what the theme for that episode is going to be. And then I answer your questions live on the air, or respond to your comments live on the air. And sometimes it's comments that agree with me. Usually it's comments that disagree with me. We talk a lot about haterade and fanboys. And now you can get the podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Player FM, on archive.org. I got to send a shout out to Archive because they're helping me host the audio version of the podcast, live streaming on Google Hangouts, obviously. And then I'm missing one, and that sucks. But yeah, so that's the show, and we've been building it up, and it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. And yeah, Comic Crunch is the name of the show, which would be eventually on Fridays. That tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. I know I'm going to miss a bunch of shows in there and all that stuff, but I just can't schedule it anyway this week. It's not even going to work properly. But again, if you want to see both of us, you can see us in the weekly this weekend, Saturday at 12 noon or East Coast time. If you're the West Coast, whatever time you wake up. And that's it, guys. Definitely check out Mr. Juan Bagnell's channel. It is Some Gadget Guy on YouTube. SomeGadgetGuy.com is the website. Follow him on all social media networks, Some Gadget Guy, or search Juan Bagnell. You will find him, that lovely mug of his right there. And you can check us out at Bored at Work. It is Bored at Work everywhere with 2 O's. Just type it in on Google. You'll find us YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I think that's it. And yeah, so thank you very much, guys. And always enjoy your entertainment. Bam.